Hey, welcome to our podcast. I'm Jolene.
And I'm Dolly.
And we're here to weird you out.
With sex. We recorded the episode you're about to hear a while ago.
The audio is rough. This was before we had access to better tech.
You'll notice that we've recorded new names over the old audio to protect privacy.
Yeah, we really don't want our moms to hear this.
Or our bosses.
Dolly, what content warnings are there for us today?
In these books, there is so much violence. Dom-sub relationships without consent, kidnapping, murder, human trafficking, stalking, forced marriages, mentions of abortion, there's crime, torture, and holding people against their will.
Listener discretion is advised. On with the show.
Welcome to the Womanly Portal Podcast.
On this podcast, we discuss explicit books in explicit detail.
And we say fuck a lot.
Listener discretion is advised.
This podcast is not for people under the age of 18.
On with the show.
Hello, listeners. Welcome back to Womanly Portal Podcast. We are your hosts.
I'm Jolene.
And I'm Dolly. And today we will be talking about the Disciples series made by a couple.
Oh, that's right. This one's co-written.
This one's co-written.
I forgot.
By Lizzie and Sean. And...
Lizzie and Sean.
Lizzie and Sean. They are high school sweethearts.
Aww.
Residing in Cincinnati, Ohio, Lizzie and Sean are high school sweethearts that have celebrated 14 wedding anniversaries, though they have been together since they were teenagers, over 19 years. Both avid and vocacious readers, they share a great love and appreciation for a great story. Two greats in that sentence. And attribute their early role-playing days as fledgling beginnings of their joint writing career.
That means this 6-book series is 6 different sexual roleplay fantasies written out by a couple and published for the world to share in.
It's mostly actually one sexual fantasy, just with slightly different characters over and over again. By the way, Sean describes himself as a real-life alpha who was tamed by the sweet Izzie. And not for me, folks. Not. I don't want to yuck somebody else's yum, but I gagged a lot throughout the series. Literally nauseated, throughout the series.
So you are directly yucking that yum.
I am directly yucking the coercive and rapey yum that they seem to appreciate in each other, and I'm glad that they have each other so that no one else has to experience it. That's where I'm at. So,
ouch.
The first book is about Lucifer and Lily. Lily is married to a man she's trying to divorce. He's a piece of shit. His name's Marshall or something.
Fuck you, Marshall.
She has 2 kids with him, but he hasn't touched her in over a year because he has other girlfriends. But she's supposed to be an absolute bombshell, like this blonde beauty. So her husband owes Lucifer, or Matthew, that's his real name, owes Lucifer $10 million.
It's made difficult that his actual name is just Matthew.
It is. But think about it. Only biblical names. He was like, fuck being true. Matthew. I want to be daddy's bad boy angel. So.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
We did not say this book is titled Keeping Lily.
It is. It's titled Keeping Lily.
Okay.
So Marshall owes Lucifer $10 million.
Jesus.
Yes.
For what?
That he doesn't have.
What did
crime. And
crime.
Organized.
Is it drug money? Did he bump somebody off?
He was gonna expand a cartel, ownership into a space, and they needed to have an initial investment for arms and shit, and then the money
just fell through.
Yeah, because there were 2 different crime groups that he was trying to negotiate this through, because he was just a crooked businessman, and those to, like, something happened that caused this to dissolve, which was a third event. But that doesn't matter in the story.
That's fine. I just wanted to know what kind of money we were dealing with. Drug money is fine.
So Lucifer shows up at his house in the middle of the night as soon as he gets back to town and is going to kill him.
Sure.
Because he doesn't believe that he can get back that money, and he needs to make sure that nobody thinks that they can steal from Lucifer and get away with it.
Make an example.
And Marshall says, take my wife as collateral. I'll get you the money.
Yes, because a person is collateral.
Yeah. And he says, actually, I'm going to keep her forever, and your kids get the fuck out, and kicks him out of his home.
Oh, and the children. Oh,
yeah.
Because children are also the same thing as drug money.
Totally. And Lily is angry at her piece of shit husband and terrified that now she's going to be like raped or killed or whatever, right?
Right.
And so functionally the story, the long thing is that he is like, no, you belong with me. You belong to me now. I own you.
Right. Like that Police song.
Yeah, and the sooner that you accept that, the happier you'll be. But your kids are now my kids, and no one will ever harm them.
So the sooner that you accept that you are a piece of property and belong to a man who tried to kill your husband because he owed him $1 million in drug money, the happier you will be.
Yeah. And so Lucifer is super well connected, so he was able to dissolve her marriage without telling her and switch her marriage to marry him without telling her. So she doesn't know this until after the fact.
How's that even possible? How do you make a divorce and a marriage happen?
He owns Garden City. Don't you understand?
No!
He owns all the judges. He owns the justice system. Yeah. It doesn't have to make sense. This is how Sean and Izzie get off. Just let that.
Right.
Okay. So the whole story, that's the thing. And she has this like insatiable sexual attraction to him, even though she hates him.
Well, I'm attracted to Satan,
and so
too.
she said he's beautiful, I mean. But also they describe him, like Lucifer, as it's hard to look him directly in the eyes because he's that beautiful. He's like so perfect. He's like so perfect that it's disturbing.
Do they describe him the like stereotypical romantic lead way, like the chiseled jawline and the straight angular nose and the high brow and the like shiny sparkly eyeballs that are a strange shade of normal colors for your eyes, that sort of thing?
Yes, and he's blonde.
Oh, I don't want him to be
pale.
blonde. Oh, he's a vampire.
I think they kind of went with that, yeah.
Well, if it's gonna be hard to look in the eyes, I don't know how she fucks him. Face down, ass up?
Well, she gets used to it, I guess. Other people can't, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But at first, yes, that's how they sleep together.
Face down, ass up.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So the first night, he's like, how long? Like, he was like, do we need to change the sheets? And she was like, what do you mean? And he was like, did your husband fuck you in these sheets? And she was like, no, he hasn't touched me. And he was like, good girl. Yeah. So this is like, yes. So
some people really like the good girl thing. I super don't because it feels very infantilized.
Yeah. There are very few stories where I feel like the way that it's written, I'm like, not for me, but I can get behind this. It's like part of the characters. Most of the time, I'm like, Okay, so I'm going to read you some highlights and then what I thought during it.
Okay.
And we're not going to go more into this other than there were like a lot of uncomfortable moments. And so the hard thing about this storyline is that there is a lot of coerced or forced sex scenes that are rape, but it's meant to like build their relationship or any of these things. And the man knows best and the girl just doesn't realize that she needs to just listen. That's the whole series. Okay.
Great.
Her pale, heavy breast pushed high in her red frilly bra. Her panties hiding her pussy between her thighs. Her ass is briefly visible as she climbs into the bed and her little thong peeks out from the back. And I said, so awkward. Oh my God. Like this is such a creepy way to describe, like, the tiny red thong hiding her pussy. Like, I'm like, like, sir.
As if she's keeping something from him. Like, the point of sexy lingerie is to be an invitation. It's not to hide the goods from you, sir.
Which, in the first chapter, she's literally describes that she wore it to try to entice her husbend.
Yeah.
Because she's like touch starved.
Yeah.
And he was like, and rolled over and went to bed. Like he did not want her.
Great.
So this is Lucifer, by the way, still. Turning on my side, I pull her close to me, her deliciously muscled ass against my cock. Good night, Lilith.
Lilith?
So Lilith and Lucifer.
Oh.
Her full name is Lilith.
Oh my
She goes by
God.
Lily. Yes.
I have too much religious trauma for that.
I know. So I reread this next scene in its entirety because I was like, what the fuck? So this is when they first started having sex. And functionally, this is when the first night where he's like, how long has it been? A day, a week? And she goes, I don't want to answer him because it fills me with humiliation. Lily, he growls, and I feel him pull away again. Damn it, why is he doing this? Months, I whisper, as he pulls completely away from me. Maybe a whole year. He's so still, so quiet, I almost burst into tears, fearing that he finds me repulsive. What a fucking idiot, he declares, and his warm weight presses down again. I can't stop the contented sigh that comes out of me, nor can I stop my hips from tipping back, welcoming him as his cock finds the entrance of my pussy again. Are you on birth control? He asks in a strained voice. I shake my head. I haven't really needed it. He thrusts forward suddenly, filling me up. It's no gentle penetration. One moment there's prodding, a little bit of pressure, then I'm roughly being spread open. But it doesn't hurt.
Oh, okay.
No, there's something about it that feels so good, so raw, like I needed this.
You needed to be raw dogged.
Pulling back, he leaves me panting with expectation. Then he slams forward again.
Oh, Jesus.
Good, he finally declares. You won't be fucking needing it. Reaching down, he grabs me by the hips. The birth control was the last question.
He had a vasectomy? Like, what?
Oh, no, because he's gonna knock her up because she
Oh, good.
belongs to him.
Great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. He's pissing on that tree. Got it.
Reaching down, he grabs me by the hips and holds me in place as he slams himself in and out of me again and again. I come almost at once, exploding around him, my needy, sex-deprived pussy, grabbing onto him so tightly, I'm not sure it will ever let go of his cock again.
I mean, I'll probably push it out, frankly.
I know. I cry out in pleasure, twitching and spasming, sucking him in deeper.
Ew.
He growls and pounds into me harder, fucking me like a man gone mad. Another orgasm rocks through me, then another. Here's where I highlighted. I can't stop coming. I keep exploding. I keep getting swept away in wet waves of bliss. I'm not even aware of him reaching his own climax at first. I'm suddenly full of his warmth and he's roaring out that I'm his.
Okay.
Full of warmth. It's such, everything about this is creepy.
I hate the
right?
phrase sucking him in.
I know, like...
Gross. That's the sound my head made. That you say it out loud.
It reminds me of the vacuum on Teletubbies. Okay, so this actually was the one quote I sent to you when I was reading this, which was, Christ on a fucking pogo stick. That was the most amazing sex. Her pussy was so fucking perfect for my cock that I'm positive that we were made for each other. And my note just says, Christ on a pogo stick. Which, like, when I read that, I imagined, like, Jesus on a pogo stick being like, too many people are turning away from me. This is our new marketing. Like he was like, come on to me, child.
God.
I know.
No, but what I love is that he uses that phrase twice in the book, right?
No, it's through a couple of the books, yeah.
Oh my God.
But yes, this is used often. So there's a part I highlighted that says, her breasts rise and fall with the movements of her arms. And I was moving my arms up and down after I read it, trying to get my boobs to move.
What is she doing with her arms? What is she, cheerleading? Like what?
No, I think she went like this.
She's Shrek.
Yeah, she just kind of lifted her arms, because this is where he's this is in the morning and he's saying pack up all your belongings, we'll have a moving company over this morning, you're gonna move into my home tonight. And she's like, I can't, this can't be real, I swear. And she's mutters as she rubs her eyes. Oh, so she did this. She lifted up her eyes and moved this.
Rubs her eyes. Okay, even if I lift my arm up to my eyes, my tit doesn't move at all, and I'm not wearing a bra.
Maybe.
Like her
Big shoulder roll.
This has the longest neck in the world.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Okay. So there's this like the next sex scene is like she's like watching him fuck her, and it has his red glistening cock disappears inside of me. He's so damn big, I don't even know how he fits. And I was like, does this mean that she's bleeding? Like, I was like, red glistening cock, like that's
because people will describe the cock that way sometimes.
Super red. Well, and I'm like, red isn't quite right.
But I don't know that there aren't penises out there that turn red when aroused. I don't know them.
We need to do surveys.
We do.
Population-wide penis surveys.
Don't write into us with that information. Please don't.
No pics.
No.
Actually, if you must tell us, only in words, please. No pictures.
No pictures.
This is not your opportunity to send us a dick pic.
No.
Or dick's pic.
We'll
or
post it
pic's
on our
dick.
Instagram. You send us a dick pic, we will post it.
So then this next part, same sex scene. Maybe it's my sex gripping him, pulling him in.
I hate that
And I was
word.
like, we've read a lot of euphemisms for vagina, but this is my least favorite.
I hate the euphemism. Well, it's not my least favorite, but I don't like it.
Yeah. And inside of me, I can feel him swelling and growing, filling me up with a hot stickiness.
Ew.
Like,
it sounds like butterscotch or something.
like warm Laffy Taffy that was left in your car.
Ew.
Like, I just also this like regularly throughout it, like when a man is about to come, like they describe him getting like
more.
Bigger, like swelling more, growing more.
More penis, please.
Yeah.
But
like it's very cartoonized where it's like bigger, like a balloon popping.
It feels very much like the last one with the filling your sack.
Yes,
I
it
think
does.
That's just how women like. There's all this cum inside the penis, so it expands a little bit and then shoots out like a water gun.
So this next chapter is Lucifer's perspective, and he goes, "She's been on the prowl again lately, trying to get to the thick cock in my pants." Can you imagine thinking of yourself this way, referring to your genitalia? You're like, my thick cock, like in your own head.
Like it's not the talking about your genitalia thing. It's the referring to it with such grandeur.
It's the grandiose,
delusions of grandeur.
It would be like if we were sitting here thinking, and we're like, our husbands can't wait to get into our hot, sexy pussies. Like, it's just weird. It's weird.
Though.
They can't.
Well, to be fair, anybody who chooses to go by the name Lucifer does have delusions of grandeur already.
Yes. All right, next sex scene. There were a lot.
I'm sure.
Okay, this is Lily's perspective. His lips smash in against my lips as his cock thrusts inside of me, spearing me mercilessly on his long shaft.
Spearing.
Yes, and I said, sounds so uncomfortable. All of my little muscles relax around him, hugging him so tight, then gripping him, pulling him in. Again, like she's like...
I mean, some people like it rough.
Yeah, that's what
Clearly.
she likes it rough, and is constantly confused when he shows her, like, love, but really what he's showing is, like...
Control?
Possession, yeah. Like, he takes care of her because she is his to take care of, not because, like...
He likes her.
Well, yeah, and I think he's obsessed with her, but I don't... Like, he was obsessed with her the moment he sees her, not for who she is.
Right. Because he wants to get into that hot, sexy pussy.
Yeah. And then the last highlight I have is, warmth fills me. Lucifer grunts and growls above me. For one glorious moment, we're on the same plane, coexisting in this orgasmic madness. And I said, all I can think is caveman sounds. Like grunts and groans and grunts and growls. He's like,
oh yeah, the growl always gets me because I'm like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, always. Okay.
Okay.
That was book one.
That's... Okay, I mean, from the things that you read, the highlights that you read, it sounds like a pretty standard, just like rough sex book. I didn't catch the rapey coercion, but maybe it's because I didn't get build up.
Yeah, well, it's because I skipped those parts. Yes, I gave you the highlights. They will become more obvious as we read through, but until she decides to stay, every single sex scene is like... her body wants it, but she doesn't type of thing.
Right.
Which I was like, dude, no. Yeah. And like
Like, so she's doing the whole, no, do not want, but then her internal dialogue is like, but she did want.
Yes.
So we're playing the game no means yes.
Exactly.
I hate that.
And Daddy knows best. And that's kind of... Okay, this next book.
Okay.
Stealing Amy. So, functionally, this girl, Amy, got caught in the sights of a Russian mobster.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's an abuser. And she tried to get a restraining order. She's tried to, like, keep him away. She's a single mom. He's married, but he wants her as a mistress, and she doesn't want to have sex with him. And he keeps, like, he stalked her when she was like, oh, I can't, I have a job. He got her fired from her job, like, all these things. So he's, like, super possessive, super creepy, and is...
literally controlling her life.
Yeah. Quite very similar to the MC, right? Like,
yeah.
So the MC is named Andrew. Andrew is one of the top lieutenants of Lucifer. So all of the male characters are going to be within Lucifer's posse.
His pussy posse?
No.
Oh, his regular posse.
Yeah, they all have penises.
His penis posse.
His penis posse, that's it.
They're building up the pussy
And
posse.
so they were going to kidnap this Russian mobster because they're in a war with the Russians.
Right.
For territory.
Okay. Got it.
And they were supposed to also kidnap his wife, but they got bad intel, so when they showed up, he wasn't on a date with his wife. He was forcing Amy to be on a date with him. Amy has a girl who's like 9 years old, right, named Abigail. And so, functionally, Andrew grabs both of them, like he's part of the team who kidnaps them, and he, like, turns to her and is like, if you listen to me, I'll get you out of this. Like, you need to be a good girl. It's a theme.
Yeah, I'm catching on to that.
Yeah. And so functionally, he has to... So they had to keep this Ivan character, the creepy Russian, alive, and he's obsessed with Amy, and so Amy can't go home, so they have to save her, right?
Right.
And Amy is like, great, I went from one fucking creepy stalker to another. Like, I'm just being held captive by these terrible men. And Andrew is like, Amy will be my wife, Abigail will be my child, and I'm gonna knock her up right now. Not
Just
Abigail,
like
Amy.
Lucifer.
Just like. And Lucifer is encouraging this because...
I mean, that's what he did.
That's what he did. But also, he wants all his lieutenants to, like, create families. And it seems like a control thing. Like, he wants them to all be intertwined together.
That's really basically how you build an organized crime family.
Yes.
Because the next generation will be the continuation of the crime family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
really, he's a manipulative bastard in all the ways.
yes. So Andrew used to be in the military. He was a medic, so he has some medical training. And here are the highlighted notes.
Okay.
And just so the listeners know, there's also a ridiculous amount of inappropriate, like, non-consensual touching, including, like, a scene where he punishes her by spanking her and being like, if you're gonna act like a child, I'm gonna treat you like a child.
Oh, sure.
When she's like, you can't do this to me, you don't own me, Andrew.
That's
like,
not
I'm a
acting like
grown
a child,
adult,
yeah.
and my daughter is not your daughter. She's not yours to keep.
Yeah.
You can't just, like, try to impregnate me and then keep me. And he, like, grabs her and then spanks her and is like, I'll do it again if you're gonna be a child. Like, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, so this whole thing. So here's just the ones I highlighted. My nipples tighten and tingle against the press of his chest. And I said, don't you hate it when your nipples tingle?
I like it.
His mouth slants over mine, over and over, with each pull, with each suckle.
Oh.
I feel like I lose a little more of myself.
Yeah, that sounds like trauma.
Yeah, also, I would hate to be suckled while I kissed.
Yeah, I don't like the term suckling.
I don't either. It's so creepy. Good girl, he grunts and starts pounding his cock inside of me like he's trying to pound me through the bed. The only note I had on that was, what?
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 That's just really violent.
You made your choice. You're mine now.
No, I don't think she made that choice.
Right?
She was literally kidnapped.
Yeah, it was, you're either gonna die or you're gonna come home with me.
That's not a
Yeah.
choice. It's an ultimatum at best.
But not even.
Yeah.
Like-
it's a threat.
Having the choice of death or being somebody's literal fucking captive.
Yeah, no, that's just no.
Above me, he glares down at me, beads of sweat forming on his brow. Middle of a sex scene.
Cool.
Yeah. Gushing all over him as I come again, his roar is so loud in my ear, it's deafening. And then he's growing inside of me, swelling and pulsing.
There's that thing again.
But he doesn't slow. That all sounds uncomfortable. It would take me out of the moment if my eardrum, like, if I was like, Jesus Christ, why'd you just scream in my ear?
Yeah.
You roared in my ear, excuse me. And if I'm not fucking mistaken, he sighs, finally stilling above me, I just got you pregnant.
Yeah, no, you
Boom!
do control her egg's ability to accept the sperm. You do.
Yeah, like,
actually.
like this man knows anything about ovulation.
Yeah, no, you definitely picked exactly the right moment.
Yeah. Also, it like takes 3 days. Like sperm isn't just like, like into an egg. Like it takes time. It is not the moment of ejaculation that is the moment of.
It should be more like, if I'm not fucking mistaken, I just initiated the possibility of potentially getting you pregnant if your eggs have reached the correct position in the fallopian tube.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he did do that.
If I'm not mistaken, I just blew a load inside of you. After I poured myself into her, I felt a spark of life. That's how he knew she was pregnant. Our lives will forever be intertwined now. Marry
At
me.
the exact moment?
Yeah, my only note was,
Do you think Sean and Izzie have kids?
Yeah, they do. It says it in their bio.
So Izzie believes that she felt the exact moment that she was impregnated, and she also believes that that was the exact moment she got, like, load blowed.
I don't know. I've met women who swear they know when conception happens. Like, they're like, I knew that I was going to be pregnant after this sexual encounter. Or they're like, a week after having sex, I knew I was pregnant far before a pregnancy test could tell me.
That feels like one of the lies that your brain invents for you. Like one of the happy lies that your brain tells you.
Well, I did have a friend who she was immediately sick.
Yeah.
Like immediately.
I mean,
a week after having sex, and she kept being like, I know I'm pregnant. Like, because it's the only thing that makes sense.
A week after, if you're having symptoms of pregnancy, that makes sense. But right after the sexual encounter, that's not even physically possible.
Yeah, but I've never met a man who's like, I could tell when I knocked her up. Like, a few months later, you could tell. Yeah. Like,
I've definitely met men who have been like, are you sure it was okay that I came inside you? Because I just really needed to be sure that IUD is gonna work.
Yeah.
I met that man.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the next chapter. Used to getting what he wants, and his will alone is powerful enough to knock me up.
Apparently.
And I said, lol, I imagine this is how God knocked up Mary. Okay.
Oh my god.
Pop quiz.
Okay.
What's a mons? M-O-N-S. Mons.
I used that exact spelling yesterday to be short for money.
Some people might consider it money.
Is it mons? M-O-N-S. Well, what's the sentence?
His eyes never leaving me. He slides down my body, his lips dragging over the curve of my mons.
Is it the pubic bone?
That's what I think. I think she's referring to, like, right there.
I have to Google it really fast.
Yeah, I don't think it's real. I think I Googled it when I read it. And she uses this term throughout the entire series.
The mons pubis is a pad of fatty tissue that covers the pubic bone. It's sometimes referred to as the mons or the mons veneris in females. While both sexes have a mons pubis, it's more prominent in females. So it's half of a biological term. It's like using the Latin name for an animal, but during a sex scene about your lady parts.
It's like when we say peen instead of penis.
The mons.
Or when we say bruh instead of breasts.
Oh, I do call them a breath.
Do you
think that...
Your brethren.
My breasterins. Do you think that Izzie uses the term mons because she thinks it sounds smarter?
Or she actually uses that regularly, like that term.
I've never heard it before.
No.
Never, ever heard it before.
Also, it's not a sexy term to me. Like, if somebody was like, he gets close to my mons, I'd be like...
You're what?
That sounds really too close. It sounds... It sounds like he doesn't know where the clit is.
It's the correct part of close. If you are sensitive in that area, that can be an erogenous zone for sure.
I don't... It doesn't do anything, me reading it.
I just feel like there are other terms you could use for that space.
I want you to guess what my note is for this next sentence.
Okay.
Cursing and praising me for my tightness. That's the whole sentence. What is my note?
Go fuck yourself?
Close. It's... Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay.
Oh my god.
This is a really great sentence, which my next note is so fucking creepy. Oh my god. She's not going to simply be a wife to me or a woman who warms my bed. No. She is my possession. My fucking obsession.
God. Okay, so here's the thing. This trope of like, she's so attractive to me, she's so beautiful and amazing that I can't keep my hands off of her and I don't want anybody else to ever touch her, is such a common trope, and I understand why, because everybody wants to feel like they are the center of the universe. We all have at least that much narcissism within ourselves. But this description of it as like, I'm going to forcibly make you like ostracized from the entire world because I need to fuck you so bad.
Yes.
Like, this is one of those things where I'm like, even if you are into this when you're reading it, you would never let that happen in real life.
No.
And if you did...
If somebody said that to me, I would get a restraining order, or I would...
You would have a
change
legal
my name.
case
Yes.
against that person.
Close. Like, I don't... this is the entire series, right? Like, this is sprinkled within every single one.
I know there are plenty of women who are into this, because, like, online, there are people who will be like, oh, what's one fantasy you love in a romance novel, but, like, you would hate if
all of
your
them
man actually did it. And this is one of those. The possession thing. They're like, oh, I love to read about possessive shifters or possessive mobsmen, but if that ever happened to me in real life, I would call the police.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and I like how the possessiveness is, like, what they're thinking about. Like, if my partner was a shifter, I would freak the fuck out. I would check myself in.
That's so cool. No, I really want.
No, you would. You would lose your fucking mind. It would be so scary. Okay.
It would be very scary, but I really want it to be real.
So, at some point, she starts giving in, and she's getting comfortable.
Oh, you mean
her?
She's groomed.
Yeah. Her daughter has started going to the same school as Lucifer's adopted daughter. So Abigail goes to school, and Amy and Andrew take advantage of the quiet house and start trying, like, they're fucking
Abigails.
right. Yeah. And he gets a call, that, like, an emergency call, mid-sex from his coworker. And his coworker is at the school, and there's active firing, like somebody's shooting a gun.
There's a shooting at the school?
Yeah, his daughter gets kidnapped by the Russian guy who's obsessed with Amy.
Quote unquote his daughter.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they were mid-sex when he got this.
Fuck.
Yeah, and he goes, my throbbing cock instantly goes soft as the words he's shouting into my phone. So I imagine this as a deflating balloon. Every time they describe an erection, it is just like a balloon. Either it grows so much it bursts, or it deflates like, meow.
Oh, that's
right.
Really weird and okay.
Okay.
They're not nice to genitalia in this book.
No, but like
complimentary or kind physically to genitalia in this book.
No, and actually there's multiple torture scenes where they like skin a penis.
God damn.
Yeah, like there are graphic scenes I am not exposing you to.
Degloving?
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
As a torture technique.
Holy fuck.
Okay.
Nobody wants to read that.
When her daughter gets kidnapped, she makes herself available to Ivan to try to get her daughter back.
Oh.
And Ivan then wants to kill and or rape her because she's been touched by another man.
That's terrifying.
Right. And that's the moment that Andrew shows up to save her again.
Yeah.
Again, in quotations, folks. And he chokes the life out of him. Well, they had an intense, like, he really loves me eye contact. So,
while he is killing this
Yes.
man, they make romantic eye contact.
when he strangled Ivan's life out of him with his bare hands while staring me in the eyes, there was so much love. So much love.
Whoa.
My only note was, fuck my marriage, I guess.
That's horrifying.
Yes.
And there's a child involved.
Yes.
Where's the child? In the room?
In another room in the house.
Thank God.
Yeah, no.
Fuck, okay. God,
Yeah.
I hate that.
Everything about it.
Lord, I don't need murder scenes in my romance novels.
There's a lot of them
Yeah, I don't
in this
need
book.
that. I also
Okay.
don't need penis dick loving scenes in my romance novels.
I mean, honestly, though, if I could deglove some of these men, that would be the most romantic thing about this book. Okay.
If Jack did that for you while making eye contact with you,
We would get divorced. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next book is called Buying Beth.
Terrific.
Yeah. So
getting
this is
better.
about Beth and Jonathan. Beth is the daughter of a senator who is super abusive to her and controls every aspect of her life so that he can maintain and further his power in the Senate.
I'm seeing a theme here.
Jonathan used to be a biker, joined Lucifer's
Thing.
doodad. Yeah.
No, that's his penis.
Well, you know.
Well, it is the penis posse. We already
It is the penis posse. Joined Lucifer's gang of alphas, and
That's right. They're all alpha men.
but he owns his own bar.
Good for him.
That's like we serve beer and we serve tequila and that's it.
That's boring.
Right,
Do
but
they even
he
have beer nuts?
I don't know.
Okay, sorry, I'm asking you for the minutia.
He has nuts. They make that clear.
Okay.
So anyways, her and her friends wanted to go out, but they had to go somewhere where they wouldn't be recognized. She snuck out of her father's home.
Right.
They went there.
Biker bar.
Yes, to the dive bar. He's there taking care of his business, sees her, is like, damn, I
That's-
want to ride that.
Like a Harley.
Yeah, she's a redhead. Typical. And
Firecracker, you mean?
yes. And like he's talking about how what he really wants is to shower, have a hot meal, and have a hot pussy snuggled right up against my leg, just humping it in anticipation.
He should get a golden retriever.
Do you think men actually think like this, where they're like, man, wouldn't that be nice if like a woman just walked up to me and was like,
True story, laying down one time, I snuggled up against a man's leg, like, a couple of times in a row, trying to get comfortable, and he accused me of humping his leg as a joke. So no, I don't think it's hot. I think it's just awkward.
no, it is. Okay. And there's this thing where he's like, this is like she's not trying to be seductive. She just is because she can't help it with that big ass of hers type of thing.
Oh yeah.
Except,
Yeah.
yes. Except in this book, it talks about how she's not a tall woman. She's 5. She isn't a tall woman, probably 5'7".
What?
Yeah.
That's so
And
much-
120 pounds. But she's got a big ass. I'm like, of air? Like,
This, okay, I hate this so much because
it's disgusting, right?
I'm 135 and I'm 5'3",
Which is a super average amount
Yeah.
of weight for a grown woman.
constantly people tell me how tiny I am,
Yes.
and I'm so
You
sick
are
of this-
tiny.
Yeah, people are
Yeah.
constantly like,
I
oh,
think-
women weigh about 100 pounds. No, they don't.
No, they don't. Well, and ultimately, men actually, just like they can't tell measurements,
Yeah, no, yeah.
they can't tell weight.
If you ask a guy what size of tits I have, they'll say a C.
Yeah,
But I wear an F.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
It's bad at this measurement.
They just don't know. Yeah. So let me tell you the full plot of this story. They're at the bar. They have this electric moment where they meet.
Good for them.
One of her friends get too drunk, so they leave.
Good.
In the parking lot, as they're trying to get the friend into the car, but she has to get out to vomit,
Oh, God.
a van comes by
Not good.
who kidnap all the girls.
Oh, great.
to put them in a human trafficking sex ring.
Oh, great.
Yes. So they show up, and one of her friends is like, do you know who my father is? And the guy shoots her in the head. So they all watch one of the friends die. And so then they all shut up because all of them have important fathers.
Right.
Important.
Quote unquote.
Right? Quote unquote. Senators and the police chief and all of that.
Oh, God.
So he saw them. He comes out and sees that the car was abandoned with the doors open and that there's like cell phones on the ground and stuff. And so he calls in the penis posse and is like, we got to find, this happened at my bar, keep it on the DL, and we have to find these women. So he goes in as a pretend buyer. He like takes somebody else's spot to buy her back.
Just her.
Yeah.
Because fuck the other two?
Well, they're going to other 3 because they don't know one of the friends are dead. So
other people from
but there's a lot of
buying.
other.
Yeah, okay.
No, so they're actually waiting on the outside to stop the trucks going in different directions for post-sale to deliver
so they're
them.
going to stop the whole thing and rescue all the girls.
Yes.
Well, thank God.
But they're getting internal intel of how many women, of like all of that.
Right.
So he goes in, and after he buys her, immediately after, a little boy is put up for sale, and he can't leave the boy behind, so he also buys him. And he takes the 2 people and leaves.
That's how they built the wife and child
scenario
that
that's
they've been
right.
having for the last 3 books.
Mm-hmm.
How
So
many books have we got? Is this number 3 or number 4?
4.
Okay.
No, this is 3.
Oh my
This
God.
is 3. 4 was my favorite book out of all of them because it was by far the most fucked up, but it also had my favorite. I know.
Okay, keep going.
It was the one that I probably laughed the hardest at throughout.
Do you have to have a favorite and a least favorite?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just by the laws of the universe. Okay,
Yeah.
continue. So he buys a redhead and a child.
Yes. He buys back Beth, and then he gets her in the car, and she's like, take me home to my dad. And he's like, no, I bought you. You're mine now.
Oh, so he is a piece of shit.
He is,
He's just
yeah.
actively doing human trafficking.
But he was like, if I take you home, they'll know who you are. You don't think they don't know who you are? They'll come back and they'll kill you. They'll kill your dad. They'll kill everybody else, you know? Like, we can't take you home.
Sure.
Which...
also, he owns her.
It's got to be a lie because her friends got to go home and she can't. But her dad is the most important out of all of them.
Yeah, he's the senator of Wisconsin.
Right. And the reason that they wanted to save her, like what Lucifer got out of it, was he got a senator in his pocket.
I hate Lucifer.
Uh-huh.
And not just because he calls himself Lucifer.
You hate Matthew?
I hate Matthew.
Okay,
Go fuck yourself, Matt.
So they get to his house and he's like, you have to stay here. Like, it's not safe. We don't know who is behind this entire ring. We're trying to figure it out, but you have to stay here until then.
Right.
She calls her friend to say, I'm safe, after a bit of time.
That's good.
She wants to stay to protect Charlie, who's the little boy.
Well, that's very altruistic.
Yeah. So there's also a point where he gets hard from a car. Just feeling this baby start up so quiet and smooth gets me hard. And I was like, men are weird.
Is that him talking about his motorcycle or her pussy?
Talking about a car.
A car.
A car. Yeah.
Well, I mean...
And I've asked, and the answer that I got from an actual human penis owner.
Your human penis owner?
No, a penis holder. I'm not going to say who. Said, well, it's like a mental boner.
A brain boner. Do you get brain boners for things?
A broner.
Yeah, do you get boners for things?
I wouldn't ever describe it that way.
Maybe that's because we don't have bones. It's a bone.
We have bones to bone. So, anyway,
I mean, you have cars you like.
she gets kidnapped back from her father because her friend demands to know the address that she's at and comes to visit her, and her father had her men following the friend and kidnaps her back and beats her, and they have to go save her. And when they save her, they also are like, to the senator, they're like, you won't follow her. She's never gonna come back home. You're gonna run for governor, and you're in our pocket now. And it turns out that he apparently likes some kinky shit that they had video proof of, and that's
so they're blackmailing the senator.
They're blackmailing the senator.
And they stole his child from him.
Yes.
His adult child.
And she didn't want to be there because they all beat her anyway.
Right. So
It's
she
better
could
with Jonathan, right?
Kind of. So she
Yeah.
could either be raped or she could be beaten.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, they're really not giving these women a whole lot of choices.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But she, and I quote, wants him to split me open with his huge cock.
Lord, that's a wild thing to say about sex.
Weirdly violent, right?
Yeah. Ooh, weirdly violent.
The next episode, so Lucifer's right-hand man is a guy named Simon. He's a germaphobe. He is described to be OCD. I don't really think he is, other than like maybe the manifestation of his germophobia.
Yeah.
But he likes things to be like organized in a specific way.
Oh,
and he's a computer hacker.
He's OCD in the way that Gen X assholes describe OCD.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Which is...
Yeah.
So...
John and Izzie. Gotcha.
Yeah. So in this book, 5 years prior, Lucifer has a half-sister who functionally she tricks fucked up men around the world into dating her, and she gets a hold of their bank account numbers somehow, and then she steals all of their money from them, ruins their life, and moves on.
Cool.
Like a Black Widow, except
Yeah.
she never sleeps with them.
Cool.
And his job is to keep her safe. So functionally, he has to send people to kill the men after she's done with them so that they don't come back and kill her.
The germaphobe? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Simon is in charge of keeping Meredith safe.
Gotcha. Meredith.
Yes, Breaking Meredith is what this book is called.
Breaking Meredith.
Yeah. So he's obsessed with her, and he does full surveillance on everything, and he's like computer hacker. Everything he does, he likes doing it from computers because it gives him more of a sense of control.
Right.
And because he can control his environment, not
Sure.
his. But he's like obsessed with her. So she comes back because a man saw that she was being tailed by Simon's like
Right.
Goonies, and he was like, you're trying to, it was like a prince of a Saudi family, right? Like a Saudi prince, yeah. But not like a top dog one, like one that was like not true.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
Little guy.
Yeah, he's low on the totem pole, but he's still on the totem pole type of thing.
Gotcha.
So they're on a yacht. He tries to kill her. She talks him out of it, and then she kills him.
Okay.
And she doesn't directly kill him, but she knows he can't swim, and she pushes him overboard.
So she kills him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then she gets off the yacht before any of the staff come and find him gone.
Gotcha.
So his family is after her.
Okay.
They want retribution. They want to behead her or some
Yeah.
other Islamophobic thing that
Right.
Izzie and Sean came up with. So she has to go back to Lucifer, who she hates. She thinks
brother.
he's a monster.
He is.
Yeah, because when she was like 14, or when he was 14, somebody broke into their house and he tortured them to death. And she didn't understand why, but I guess the guy who broke in had been planning to like rape her or something. And so he...
More torture and not just police.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're from a crime family. Like, he murdered his father to take over the throne.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he is a monster, but so is she.
yeah, she's a more civilized monster than he is. Less psychopathic.
Yeah.
She, like, murdered this man out of what she felt was self-defense. She didn't think she could long-term
Sure.
talk him out of
But
it.
she has, whether or not she knows it, directly caused the death of so many other men.
She doesn't know it
Yeah.
yet.
But she has, though.
Yeah. So she comes back, and Lucifer is like, dear God, deal with my sister, Simon. Like, solve this.
Like, I need you
I don't
fuck
wanna
my
deal with
sister
this.
So I don't have to talk to her.
No. So he's like, just keep her safe until we can figure this out with the Saudis. And so now they're negotiating with a royal family, like trying to figure out a
Right.
solution, and they just want her. And so Simon has her on a lockdown.
Yeah.
So at some point, he has to take her to his house
Okay.
and lock her up there
Okay.
because they can't go back to her condo.
They're using his apartment as the safe house?
Mansion.
His mansion.
Yes.
That just doesn't like a good idea.
Well,
That seems high profile.
he has a ton of security and everything, and he locks her in and leaves, and she can't get out of the house. Like, everything is locked down. She can't break a window, like all the things. So it's a fortress. And so she goes and finds the only thing she can find in the entire house is the computer room, which is full of like a fuck ton of computers and monitors and like, and so she starts looking at everything, and she finds cameras of her condo that she was staying in. And she's like, oh my God, this sick fuck. Like, and then she sees this camera turn like where Simon is, and he's leaving the Lucifer compound because he has a compound.
Yeah.
And he just mouths like, I see you. And like, she's like, fuck. Like, and he like drives back, but at the time that he's driving back, she sees one of the like Saudi royal families getting off a plane.
Okay.
And so when he gets back, obviously he hate fucks her.
He hate fucks her?
Like as a punishment. I guess not hate fucks. He punishes her by fucking her.
Rapes her.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He at least coercively rapes her.
Yes.
Because she was in the computer room.
Yes.
In the house where he locked her in. And
well,
would have had the potential possibility of just locking the door to the computer room, so he punishes her for that.
Not exactly. I'm trying to remember. There's a lot of like, he is trying to get her to obey him. And so he like spanks her. Yeah. He like, and then realizes that at some point he realizes that she's wet. And so he starts to like finger her, like all these things. But he like restrains her while he does it.
So it's a one thing led to another kind of punishment fuck scene.
Yes.
I hate that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so it's like...
Yeah, and so does she. She hates herself for liking it.
Oh.
Yeah. So...
I wish I could verbalize that eye roll.
Right? So she's like, this guy is clinically insane. Like, he's been stalking me.
Okay.
And eventually she's like, hey, I saw this guy. And he was like, where'd you see him? And she was like, well, he was getting out of an airport. And he's like trying to find the guy. And he's like, I can't find any like proof he's in the States. Like, are you sure? And she's like, well, I saw a sign for Garden City, but he was at an airport, so it might have been to visit Garden City. And I know he got into a car, but I didn't get the license plate number. And she's like, don't you have these all recorded? Like, can't you go back and look at it? And he was like, no, recording it would take so much storage space. I can't record all of this. And he was like, and that's like a setup because it turns out that he records any of his favorite moments of her.
But not
yes
important moments in national security?
No. So
right, your boner is more important than the universe,
yeah
sir.
And he like records her like masturbating, things like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And he's like, she's like, well, I guess I'm lucky that I never like slept with any of these men because like he probably would have showed up and killed them. And I was like, yeah, he's
insane. I mean,
unhinged.
He did show up and kill them later.
Yeah. So he convinces her to sign a marriage contract. Like, but she doesn't know, like, she's signing a big stack of different papers and apparently, quote unquote, does not know that that's what she's signing, which I was like, a marriage contract looks like a fucking certificate. Like, it doesn't look like the bottom of a contract.
There's that one paper that you have to fill out, but it says marriage contract right up at the top.
Yes. So anyway, functionally what ends up happening is she's like, well, I've never had somebody who's like obsessed over me. Like, he knows everything about me. That's so hot. And I'm like, is it though? Like, I would feel so violated because I have functionally been like watched every moment of my life for the last 5 years.
It's hot if somebody knows everything about you because you have felt comfortable enough to trust them with that information.
Yes.
It is not hot if somebody finds all of that information out about you and records videos of you masturbating without you knowing.
Yeah. So the majority of the beginning of their sex scenes start from, like, she's like, what's your favorite scene of me? Pull it up. And so they, like, watch her masturbating together while he fucks her.
No.
Yeah. And he, like, forces her to watch.
Don't want to watch a scene of myself masturbating either.
Right? But
is that a thing for people?
She's like, no wonder he knew exactly what I liked. He's, like, memorized everything that I like. In this book, the things that Simon says is exactly what the villain in the next book says to the girl. She's being forced to marry another Russian mobster who's like the leader and who's like drugging her and forcing her to marry him. And she is a part of a dwindling Irish mafia, that the Russians have functionally, or the Italians have functionally killed off.
Okay.
Yeah. And she doesn't want to marry this like creepy Russian dude, right? They really hate Russians. Simon is like, I know what's best for you, and I'm going to keep you safe even if it means from from yourself. Like, that's like functionally, like, I will keep you out of harm's way, even if that means that I have to save you from you.
Right.
Yeah. So that's exactly what Taking Megan says. So in Taking Megan, Gabriel is Simon's brother, and he's been in prison for 10 years.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And he is known as Lucifer's hound dog, like as in a hell hound dog.
Hound.
Yeah. And he will commit any level of violence, and violence is the only thing that calms him.
Cool.
Other than
horrifying.
Megan, who's forced to come home from school so that she can marry a creepy old Russian dude.
From college, I hope.
Yeah, from college.
Okay.
At the beginning of the book, she thinks that she has an IUD in, but it turns out that when they drugged her when she was getting ready for the wedding, they drugged her because she wasn't compliant. The Russian dude also had a creepy fucking doctor come in and remove her IUD without her knowledge.
Terrific.
Yeah, and she doesn't know this. And so throughout the book, Gabriel's like, I'm gonna get you pregnant. And she's like, haha, you wish I have an IUD. Because they all want to get everybody pregnant.
Clearly.
So functionally, at this wedding, Lucifer's penis posse comes in shooting. They're gonna kill the Russian. They're trying to make a point because they're very angry at the Russians. Well, the leader of the Russians are there, and the Russians were responsible for the human trafficking ring. And at this point, they know that. So they come in, and she is able to hide for a minute, but then the guy that she's supposed to marry leaves her for dead. And, like, Lucifer's men come in, and Gabriel is the one who finds her, and she has a gun, and she's pointing it at him, and she's next to the priest who peed himself because he was so scared. Yeah. And this is in a Catholic church, by the way.
Okay.
And so Gabriel's like, I have an idea. You're going to marry me right now.
Oh, good.
And she's like, why would I do that? And he's like, well, if you marry me, you can't marry that Russian guy. And she's like, okay. And he's like, this is the only way that you get out of his clutches.
It's not, but okay.
Yeah. But her dad functionally sold her to this Russian guy because he needed to consolidate power. So this is a political wedding for him. But he also knows that this man is, like, really abusive.
Yeah.
But he feels tied into it. Like, if he doesn't do this, the Russian man's going to kill her. So he's like, I'm giving you her so that you keep her alive.
Sounds legit.
Super fucked up. So she says, fine, yes, whatever, just let me get out of here. And so they get married, they leave. He takes her back to his house. Lily, Lucifer's wife, gets her clothes to wear, right?
And gives her, one of those womanly pep talks. I was kidnapped once too, but it turned out fine.
Yes, that's actually Lily's only purpose after the first book, is to be like, if that's what you really want, but I guarantee you, they're good men. So anyway.
They're good mobsters.
Yes. So she ends up they're trying to figure out, she's trying to figure out what's going on, because earlier in this book, she had thought that the Italians killed her mother, but it was the Russians.
Okay.
And it turns out that her father knew that, and so she's trying to understand why her father lied to her. And so she ends up getting away to go confront her father. And then the Russian dude shows up and forces a gun in her hand and pulls the trigger to make her shoot her own dad.
Oh my
And she's
God.
so consumed with grief that she gets into the car and drives away.
Yeah, fuck.
And they have to go rescue her. And while they're trying to figure out where she is and coming up with their plan, the Russian dude finds a doctor again to find out if she's been touched, so if her hymen has been.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And
that's legit.
He is really worried that she's with child, and the doctor is like, well, we could give her a medical abortion and that will make sure that she's not with this guy's child. And he was like, we don't have time for that. What's a faster option? And he was like, we can suction it out. And so they're in the process of prepping an abortion for her when they all when the Lucifer penis posse breaks in to kill everybody.
God.
And then Gabriel rips the Russian dude apart with his bare hands.
Oh my God.
And just keeps beating him.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
The hero of the story.
Yes. And then it turns out that they didn't finish the abortion, so she's fine, and then she gets pregnant and they lived happily ever after. The end.
Gets pregnant with whose baby?
With Gabriel's.
Okay.
The Russian never got to the point of raping her that we know of.
That was horrifying.
Right?
Okay.
Okay, so in that shootout where she was forced to kill her own father, the chief of police was killed.
Okay.
Okay. And you remember Beth, who was kidnapped?
Yeah.
She was kidnapped with Sophia, who is the chief of police's daughter.
Okay.
Okay. So when she was kidnapped, a man named James was the one who saved her, and they kissed each other, but then they separated because Sophia had to go back to her father for Lucifer. Yeah, Lucifer was like, you can't keep her. She needs to go back because we need her father, and her father will never cooperate and will try to investigate us if we keep her. So they're trying to figure out why her father got killed because it didn't make sense the way that it happened. They were pissed, and it seemed like her father was like purposely targeted in this like shootout thing.
Okay.
So she's totally collapsed in grief because her father was her last remaining family member, and they were like best buds. So her father's best friend was the deputy chief.
Right.
And then his son was also on the force, but his son's kind of a moron, and his son is heavily, like, totally head over heels in love with Sophia, and both the fathers wanted them to get married. The son wanted it, and Sophia was like, yeah, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, okay.
So Sophia's a virgin, but she's hooked up with guys before, which I was like, whatever that means.
Like, she's real into heavy petting.
That's what it sounded like to me. Yeah. So after she gets back from being kidnapped, she felt like she was rejected by James that night because she wanted him to take her home because she felt instant connection and trust to her. And Simon showed up and was like, you can't take her home. I'm going to take her home. And James was like, right, you do that. And she was like, no, I want you to. And he was like, just go home, Sophia. And like walked away like a, I don't know.
Like an alpha.
Yeah. And so James then spends the rest of the next 2 books stalking her. And it's like a small subplot that's coming up where everybody's like making fun of him because he's obsessed with her. But he doesn't want to admit it because everybody else wifed up and are now pussies. Yeah. And he's like, I'll never be domesticated.
Right.
Yeah.
You are a lone wolf, buddy.
It turns out James is Lucifer's half-brother from an affair that Lucifer's father had. And they lived separately, and Lucifer found him and brought him in on board. But Lucifer is always a little bit hesitant of him and worried that he might want to vie for Lucifer's power. But James doesn't want that kind of power. He makes his own money in real estate, and he just likes the work.
Oh, we love a landlord.
Yeah, but he hates the part of him that is like Lucifer, like the sociopath part of him.
He should.
Yeah, and it seems to him like it looks like it's like shifted, like Lucifer nurtured him and he, like his sociopathic tendencies, and James tried to fight it. So that's kind of like the 2 brothers.
Gotcha.
So he is concerned because they don't know why the chief died, and they're trying to figure out what the chief knew and all these things. So he is like, we have to watch over Sophia. So at first he like shows up at the funeral and takes her home, and she hates him because he rejected her or whatever, and she's grieving intensely, and he is like, you have to come back to my house. And she's like, no the fuck I don't. Like, why are you here? And he's like, I'll stay here because you have to be safe. Like, I can't leave you alone. And she's like, that's fucking stupid. Like, and he's like, no, it's not. We don't know who's dangerous. And then he just like instinctually hates the like dude who is the cop who is in love with her, who is like the son of her dad's best friend. Okay. Spoiler. It turns out that he is the reason that her dad died.
Oh, good.
So when she was like, right after her dad died, she didn't know why, but she handed her laptop off to her friend Amber, who was the 3rd person who lived through the abduction.
Okay.
Amber has like, she was like raped and everything by the guards in a way that Beth and Sophia managed to avoid because they wanted to keep them virgins, but Amber wasn't a virgin, so they just violated her. Yeah, like horrific things, but it changed. Like, Amber is all about the violence, and she's gonna burn the earth, like scorched earth type of thing. And all of the penis posse is like, maybe we should bring her on board. She seems like a badass kind of woman. Like,
okay.
So
Jesus Christ.
She hands her the computer and is like, can you figure out the password, please? And it turns out that she's a computer hacker like Simon, who they all nickname Spider because he has his webs everywhere.
Gotcha.
And he's creepy.
He is very creepy.
Yes. So they're trying to figure out what's going on. and the cop shows up at the door of her house, and he's like, well, she's with me now, and like punches him in the gut or something and slams the door, and then they like fuck naturally, and then he's like, we have to leave right now, and they set up a diversion because they see that cars are coming to like show up at the house because they're concerned that she's being held against her will. And so
She is.
yes, but she like is like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, like why would I go with you? And he was like, you're going with me. So they go to his house.
Okay.
And he has a dog named Mitzi.
I'm glad there's a dog.
Yeah.
What kind of dog is Missy?
Tiny.
Like a Yorkie?
Yeah, an angry Yorkie.
Oh.
Who's super smart, immediately loves her, and she has a cat. So they're at his house and they're slowly building a relationship. And he like, she won't eat. And it turns out he's really good at cooking. He has this beautiful big kitchen. He's from New Orleans or something. And so he loves like making really good Southern dishes. And he just keeps trying to take care of her as she's in his grief. So there's like a scene where like she's sobbing in the shower and he just like holds her. But he has to leave at one point, and Mitzi, the dog, leads her to his closet where she finds a box full of photographs of her in places where he should not have been able to get photographs.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like, and she's like, this guy is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So she's trying to find a way out, and she can't find a way out, and she's also starting to get nervous about the cops. So at some point, her friends come over, she's able to get into the laptop, and she like breaks down because at the end of her dad's work diary, it says that he had found out that his best friend's son was working with the Russians. So he knew that that was
Gonna happen.
yeah, pretty much he knew, and he was trying to figure out how to tell his friend. So they start to figure that, like, their relationship starts to click or whatever. She stops denying him or whatever the fuck.
Ugh.
And he gets a call that there is SWAT teams on his way to his house, which means somebody gave up his address because it wasn't linked to him. And so they're trying to figure out what it could be or who could have been followed. But he's like, we got to get into the safe room. There's not enough time to leave the house. And she's like, I won't go in without my cat. So she ends up getting taken by the police as he fights the rest of the squad team single-handedly.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So he's murdering cops
Well,
in his house.
He is an alpha.
True. And he's a sniper. And
He's too close to
Yeah.
be sniping.
but since she got taken, he calls up and is like, they took her, find her. And so his neighbor like follows around until the rest of the penis posse can show up and like surround them. They end up hiding out in a motel, and they're trying to figure out what they should do.
Fuck.
Yeah. Well, no, like the police.
Oh.
So it's the two police who were working with the Russians, which was a guy named Dickerson, who was named Dickerson because he's a dick. Trent, or whatever the fuck the best friend's son's name is. Then the father.
Right.
And then a fourth unnamed PO.
Okay.
Like just
Sorry.
a random fucking patrol officer, right?
There are so many moving parts.
Yes. So they're all in the car deciding whether or not to kill her.
Oh, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Don't.
Because they're like, Lucifer's team will never stop coming after us. We can't even explain why these deaths happened because we didn't even have a warrant for that. Like, they're like, we gotta figure this out. If we kill her and make it look like one of them did it, then we can justify it. And so they're like trying to come up with this thing. While they're like in the car, they're trying to avoid Lucifer's team. They get pushed off the road, so they drive over to a motel and hop into a motel room, and they're just waiting there. Well, the motel is being surrounded by Lucifer's men. And Lucifer's men are all like, we gotta move before the Russians show up, because they think that the two officers are still working with the Russians. But the Russians won't work with the two officers because they are attributing the crashing of their human trafficking ring to the two police officers rather
than Lucifer.
Well, they know it's Lucifer, but they thought they got sold out because they have proof that the cop in love with Sophia gave up certain information to the police chief, her dad, to try to save her.
Right.
So all he wants is her. He's always been in love with her, whatever. So he is sick at the idea of killing her, so he runs into the bathroom. And then Dickerson makes his dad kill her so that his dad can't turn on the rest of them. So they show up, they break in. She can't speak because he was choking her to death.
Oh, God.
And damaged her vocal cords in the
Great.
process. And so James shows up and like just fucking tortures and murders all of them while she's in the room,
We
right?
did loving.
Yeah.
While
And-
making eye contact with her?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No, he doesn't want her there. He doesn't want her to see the monster that he is.
Yes. Which he is, clearly.
Yeah. And she's both horrified and more in love than ever. Which,
Yeah, super turned
like,
on.
wow.
Very scary.
yeah. And
Call that Stockholm.
and Lucifer is trying to take care of her and her wounds because he would do anything for his brother's wife type of thing. And she's like, James is your brother? What the fuck? Like, and that's when it all comes out for sure that James is the brother. And
the big reveal as a
yeah. So the cop who is in love with her, James, while he's still alive, rips his heart out of his chest.
Good God.
And then stabs it to his father's chest. It was a very violent series.
Yeah, no kidding. Is that
And
even
then-
physically possible?
I don't want to know.
Yeah, I don't either. You gotta go through the whole
yeah.
cage and everything.
Yeah. So, and these men are all about torture. Like, that's how they maintain power.
Clearly.
Yeah. And so, anyway, they all live happily ever after at the end.
Cool.
Yeah. So,
Cool.
this book, now that I've just told you the whole thing, I'm just going to give you the highlights and you're going to read through them and my notes and let me know what you think.
Okay, so I'm gonna read them here, starting at this one. Tensing my toes for a moment, I raise up on the balls of my feet. I have to loosen all the muscles in my legs so that I can move silently. I can't let the tension I feel building deep in my core interrupt my job. What? I'm just trying to decide if you can loosen your muscles while you're on tiptoes.
Yeah. I think he goes up on tiptoes to tighten them and then he sets back down. So then he's like able to be silent.
To loosen, so I can't let the tension I feel building deep in my core interrupt my job.
I think he's saying boner, but anyway.
Is that in a sex scene?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's sneaking up on somebody to kill them.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Next one.
Okay. My heart feels like it's trying to beat as fast as the speedometer says I'm going. My brain, though, is moving even faster. There should be commas there. Each and every possibility ahead of me playing out in 1,000 different ways. That can't be that fast.
That's my no. Well, because your heart, like, okay, fastest speed you can probably go without redlining in a car. 120? Especially an armored vehicle, which he's driving.
Yeah, if we're specifically matching miles per hour to beats per minute, you can't really go any faster in your heart than like 125, I think, or 130.
Which would be like a good place to be for a workout. Like,
yeah. Oh wait, no, you can go way higher than that.
Yeah. Like to say my heart is beating fast as I'm driving, you would have to be going 160 for people to be like, that's pretty fast.
That's right, because my cardio sucks ass, and so I'm breathing heavy at 120. But like most of the time when you're doing a good workout and you're as buff as this guy, you have to be going like 200 miles an hour for me to be like, Jesus Christ. And then your brain is going so much faster, but can't be that smart.
It sounds like his heart is going a little faster than resting.
Yeah.
Like that's what I was like
I'm
so
going 90 and you're
so
like,
you're like slightly elevated. Like
you just walked up the stairs, bud.
Yeah.
Okay. Mitzi's gonna fucking kill me. I'm gonna be late as hell, and I doubt she's gonna be happy when I get home. Cat, grandma, dog.
This is how they introduced Mitzi to the story.
With
with her name. No idea what Mitzi is at this point.
It's just a really grumpy ass dog.
Right? That's her whole persona, and she only likes him and Sophia. Everybody else she's like violent towards.
I don't like that. Like, I understand that they put the dog and cat in this book to give one of these books to the child-free folks reading, and I respect that. But if my dog hated it when I was coming home late instead of just being grateful that I was alive still, I would get a new dog.
Oh, he has the same thing where he knocks her up because
I'm glad that
own her type of caveman shit.
The chest bump.
Yeah.
Just relax. It's not like that kiss didn't fucking sear her soul. I've got that kind of power. She hasn't been dating or talking to any of the douchebags who have been hitting on her. I have really damn good lips, so I just need to relax. Your note is just vomit. For real though, these guys are so sucked into themselves. So this is still James. Not Sophia's though. I'd rather do some sexy fun times with her neck. Do they mean necking? Like, also what is necking? Like hickeys?
Yeah.
So he wants to give her a
biting,
hickey
nibbling.
with his wiener?
I don't know. I don't know what sexy fun times with a neck is. Deep throating, perhaps?
Ugh.
Who fucking knows? Okay.
The next one. Cold and wet. Just how I don't like my pussy. He wants it hot and dry like the Sahara Desert. Oh my god. Oh yeah. I finally get between her thighs. We'll break each other over 1,000 rocky shores. Yeah, no, that doesn't sound comfortable. Okay, so this is Sophia. Laughing a ragged laugh, he says, "Look at this bastard as he fucks you, Sophia." Is there a thing with mirrors in this one? Like, in this series, are they looking at each other in mirrors all the time? Or are they, like,
No.
constantly craning their necks to look at their cooches?
Craning.
That's creepy weird.
Yeah. The only one who, like, has any sort of, like, reflection or something that's, like, not staring at each other is Simon, and it's the cameras. Yeah.
That's weird. 'Cause
Where they, like, in that
constantly-
book, by the way, they do fuck while they're live watching a feed of them fucking, like, a couple of times.
That's the mirror thing, I guess. It's one way to do it. That's just weird. That is... Okay. You like that, huh? You like it when this bastard hits that little clit? So he has a lot of trauma about being a literal bastard that he needs to work through.
Well, and he's a jerk to her, and she's like, "You're such a creepy fucking jerk." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm a bastard. Like, what of it?"
Oh my god.
Like, type of,
Oh my god. Okay, this is James. The way her firm breasts seemed to swell as she tipped over the ledge. Fuck. Okay.
Do your breasts swell as you orgasm?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Normally they only swell because of hormones and my period, and it hurts and it's not comfortable and I hate it.
Yeah.
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 Well,
I wouldn't call that arousing.
but it would be to an alpha man.
It would be.
Watching it swell.
As they just go, balloon, deflate.
Ooh. Ooh.
Take a big deep breath. Okay, Sophia. Shouting out in a near deafening roar, he commands, "Take my cum, Sophia. Fucking milk it out of me." Oh my god, gross. That is not the first time I've heard the verb milk used for wieners.
It's used throughout this series.
I just don't like the idea of, like, milking a penis like a cow udder. Because, first of all, you squeeze and pull. They don't like that. I learned that one the hard way. They don't like that. Second of all, ew. Gross.
I know.
God, okay.
If your spouse was ever like, "Take my cum," like, would you be like, pre-K pause, we gotta stop? Like,
that, I mean, I don't mind a little bossiness, but that's a weird kind of bossiness.
yeah.
Take my cum.
Like, take it where? Where do you...
Like, and he's already in her.
Yeah.
Like, he's already inside, and she's like, "Yeah, working on it."
You're like, that's really a you thing, dude.
Oh my God.
Like, okay, keep going.
This is James again. I know she does all the human things. She's as earthborn as I am. I may feel like she's a heavenly body, but she's not. Okay. I was getting alien vibes off of that. Like, mad alien vibes off of that. Your note, he's just a boy. I'm just a girl. What more can I say? We're in love. Haven't you heard how we rock each other's world?
I took a skater boy approach.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's super creepy, right?
But she didn't say "see you later, boy."
She should have. Yeah. I mean, she did try, honestly. Yeah.
She tried.
A couple times.
"You can't just force me to do things, James," she growls back as she stands up and stares into my eyes. Shaking my head at her, I say, "It's not forcing you, Sophia." "No." She puts her hands on her hips and I try my best not to laugh at how fucking cute she looks. "It's taking care of you," I say, and push my sweats down my legs so they pool around my feet. "I can take care of myself, damn it." Jesus Christ. God, that's just such manipulator talk. Like, I don't need you to force me to do things. I'm not forcing you. I'm doing what's best for you. You don't know what's best for you, but I do.
Yeah. It's very, like, authoritarian parents vibes. Yeah. And then he's just, like, exposing himself at the same time. And
I can take care of you with this.
Yes. This all feels like a dom sub type of thing where none of the women agreed to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come for me, Sophia. I shout and slap her clit hard. Okay, first I'd just like to say, they spelled come differently in that sentence than in other sentences.
Yeah.
Second of all, first of all in my second of all, how do you slap the clit? It's tucked in there deep. Second of all, B, don't, though.
Yeah.
Don't, please.
It would be like if mid-sex, I just started squirrel tapping Jack.
Yeah.
It's so fucked up.
Like, I know, like, okay, so ass slapping can be really sexy. People really enjoy that kind of pain with their pleasure. Like, biting and hickeys and, like, pinching can all be really enjoyable in the right place. The clit is not that place.
No.
The clit is not that place in a violent slapping kind of way.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, so he's...
Also, I don't know how you slap clit. It
He
really
just,
is deep.
over and over again, this whole thing, he is, like, violently fucking her and slapping her clit.
Like it's a big old front pat? It's a big old
That's
front
the
pat?
only thing I can assume.
I guess that could be okay, maybe, but, like,
Yes.
if he's inside her, then it seems still like a difficult thing to be able to do. And also not that enjoyable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lord!
Yeah. So,
God.
this whole scene is, like, ridiculous. Like, he calls her brat a lot, so he's a bastard, she's brat.
I mean, that is such dom and sub talk.
Yeah, other than she's not a brat. She's just an autonomous
She's
person.
just not consenting.
Yeah.
Like, a dom and a sub, when you have a sub who's a brat, the intention is the role play, but then she's consenting to the sexual acts later. You've already talked about it.
Yeah.
There's already been a conversation where you're like, I like to do what you tell me to, but I like to resist.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, there's an entire, and in what contexts, when, where, why, like all the pieces.
What your safe word is, when you respect my boundaries, when you play with me about it, like, there's a conversation there. It's not,
Yes.
I've kidnapped you and forced you to marry me and you brought your cat into my home because you have nowhere else to go because we inadvertently led to the death of your father.
Yes.
There's none of that.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the worst version of a dom-sub relationship. And they're not calling it that,
No.
but that's
Just
the
real
language
alphas.
they're using.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and there's...
It's not like in 50 Shades where he's, like, actively trying to say, I'm into BDSM and this is what the BDSM culture looks like, and he's just wrong.
Yeah.
But it is, like, a BDSM-style fantasy, but without any of the fun toys.
Or consent.
Or consent.
Yeah.
And I just think, like, it's okay to write books where there's rough sex.
Yes.
And rough play. But it is wild and uncomfortable to read a book where there is that rough play with no consent, clear coercion, lots of manipulation, and on top of it all, in this series, crazy, horrifying, violent acts of torture by the heroes.
Yes.
That's crazy to me.
Yes.
That's a weird romanticization that I cannot get behind.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyway, so I yelled and was like,
I don't know
a lot throughout this whole book.
This series.
Okay, so to be honest, this last book, I stopped halfway through, took a 2-week break,
Yeah.
read a happy-go-lucky book,
Good.
and then went back to it and was like, that's why there's so many notes on the last book when I like really lost steam in the middle.
Yeah.
But I did laugh a lot in this series because I would be like, what the fuck? So,
When was this series published?
recently.
Okay, because it reminds me, in the coercion way, of books written in the 90s or the early 2000s, because, like, a lot of romance novels from that, like, couple of decades had that.
So all of these books, they're recent. Each one has a playlist.
A Spotify playlist?
Yes. These are all very recent books, which also explains the lack of editing. They're
What?
Kindle-free books.
What kind of music is it?
Violent music,
Oh,
mostly.
God, okay.
Yeah. for the men, and then so it's different songs that kind of lead you through the entire arc of the series.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Well, no, I actually love that. I think that's a fantastic idea, but I don't love it for this series. It doesn't deserve that attention.
No, but it does. I will say the most impressive part is that I felt like they did a good job making playlists that fit the characters.
Oh, well, that is impressive, actually.
They didn't diversify the characters as much because I felt like everything was the same of what motivated every single male and female character.
That is a difficulty with series like these sometimes. The series where you're like, I mean, like this, where you start with one character and their relationship, and then each book is another character in the story.
Yeah.
Frequently, when not taken with great care, those characters just end up being the same.
Yes.
Which is why Jill Shalvis just plagiarizes herself, because she can, because all of her characters are the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are only a couple of books that Jill Shalvis wrote where I'm like, oh, this is a different character, which tells me that she probably had a ghostwriter.
Probably.
On those books. Yeah, but most of them are exactly the same.
She wrote a couple of good books, but she was trying to keep up with her publisher's demands.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I hated this. This was horrible. This is like everything I don't want in a romance novel.
Yeah.
And the thing that makes this difficult for me is that I know it's what a lot of people want from a romance novel.
Yeah.
And I have had a lot of conversations with a lot of friends recently about the non-consent thing in books, especially my friends who are into consensual non-consent in their actual lives, being like, am I being overly sensitive about this fantasy in the book? And all of them have said, no, romanticizing rape is not the same thing as having consensual non-consent in your relationship. It's not even close to the same thing. It's really creepy to romanticize rape. It perpetuates this idea that you don't have to have things like safe words and conversations and rules in place for your relationships.
Yeah. And super structured consent, which can be revoked at any time.
And the other thing that I've been hearing from a lot of people is, while it's important to discuss sexual assault and rape, and the way that humans communicate is through stories and books and media, movies and stuff, having a fully fledged out rape scene is so similar to having a fully fledged out violent torture scene or violent murder scene that it should be considered like visceral violence, and the fact that it's not, and that in these books it's portrayed as visceral sexual scenes where inevitably the woman is like, oh, this is not what I asked for and not what I consented to, but I'm enjoying it at the end. That is what makes it so disgustingly terrible.
Yes.
Like, that's not okay, because that's not what CNC is about.
Yeah, and there's an entire issue within coerced rape, coerced sex, which for me is rape, but like coercive sex and different things where consent isn't fully given by somebody. If they have a bodily reaction, like they orgasm when they didn't actually want to have sex, that's often used as an argument against them saying that they were violated.
Trauma. Yeah. And like, this is, it's a trope that I see a lot in older romance novels. It's why I can't find pirate romances that I can read. And it's one of those things people get really defensive of. But I think I speak for both of us when I say this podcast does not condone rape romance.
No, rape is not entertainment. And, you know, there have been a couple of books that I've seen recommended. I've yet to dabble into one that does it well, but where it is a dom-sub relationship, and so there is structure around those things.
I would love recs on dom-sub books that are actually good.
Yes.
That aren't harmful and non-consensual and emotionally manipulative.
Yes.
Because that's the other thing about this series. As a survivor of an emotionally abusive relationship with a partner who was potentially violent, this is horrifying to me because they all end up with abusers.
Yes.
And the vocabulary and the sentences that these men use are the kind of phrases that my partner used against me. It's just he wasn't a part of the mafia.
So the biggest thing for me in these books was that there was no actual distinguishing language between the heroes and the villains of this story. They used the same possessive. It was just which one was hot.
Which one could get you to orgasm.
Which was incredibly offensive.
Yeah.
But the other piece of it that was interesting to me is that as authors, they felt like there was a difference between those two things. Yes. And I feel like if they were here, they would argue that they wrote an entire series about men who were not good, but they're good protectors for their family. Like, and that's the
they do bad things, but they protect their own. They do those things. They do bad things to protect their people. They're a morally gray area.
Yeah, very like an MC type of book.
But they're super duper not, though, because they're like just that not the last one, but the penultimate quote.
Yes.
$3 word about like, I don't want you to force me to do things. I'm not forcing you. I'm taking care of you. That's what my partner would say to me. Be like, I'm not driving you away from your friends and family. I'm just looking out for you.
Yes.
That's grooming.
Yes.
That's literally what that is.
Well, and it's isolating so that once abuse happens, I mean, like this entire relationship, one of the reasons it's abusive is because they rely on these men for everything. Exactly. They're stay-at-home moms at the end. They stay within the compound. Their kids all go to the same school. They are restricted within the walls of this, like the metaphorical and physical walls of this commune. Yes.
And it's a commune. It's basically a cult.
Well, and they all live separately, but there's specific rules to go by, and there is a final word held by each of the men in these relationships.
It's so patriarchal, it hurts.
And one thing is, like, I can't remember which one of these books, but he refuses to let her wear bras. And the way she talks him into letting her wear bras is she's like, well, what are you going to do when company's over? Like, you just want me around all of these men you work with, like, with no bra? And he's like, you can have one bra. Like, oh my God. And it's like this, like, everything about it.
All the negotiation is surrounding sex.
Yes.
And sex can be a very important part of a relationship, and sex can be an important an important part of your conversation in a relationship, even if you're an asexual couple, because you still have to negotiate that relationship. However, if sex is the thing that glues you together,
really good dick.
There is work to be done there. Like, you need some emotional connection that is not just tied to this man's penis.
And I think that everything, I mean, it's as simple as everything about these relationships would be an example of domestic violence. Or the lead up to domestic violence perpetrated against you in a physical way, while most of this is done in an emotionally manipulative way.
So in the author's notes, when they described that A, Sean and Izzie got together as teenagers, and B, their early fantasy role play is what guided their authoring. That makes me think these are the fantasies of teenagers, which vibes, because teenagers don't have the emotional maturity to understand the kind of damage this would do. But you would think that as grown adults, 14 years later, these grown adults would have the emotional capability of knowing this is fucked up. Or I'm worried about Izzie's safety.
Well, and I think that the other piece is that this is often, like you said, the Reddit chains, they're like, well, obviously this would be bad in real life. This is an imagination. This is a fantasy. And what's interesting, though, is I would be really, if we interviewed them as a couple, I would be super interested in pulling out to what extent this type of behavior has been normalized to them, whether it in their community at large or to them as a relationship, or what they're teaching their kids, because it is something that every single piece of it I found horrific.
The violence, the roughness of the sexuality, it does not sound like there's actually foreplay.
There was some across it.
A little.
But the other piece is that, like, the structure of every single relationship is the same, which made it feel really monotonous. But the piece that was the most shocking was, and will forever be, that the fundamental, basis and foundation of their relationship was incredibly patriarchal and
so controlling.
Yeah, and controlling. Yeah. I said daddy knows best. Like, that's what it felt like the whole time.
This woman is she's on the totem pole of the family. She's as low, she's like down there with the kids.
Yeah.
That's like, there's 2 rungs on this totem pole. Dad, wife, and kids.
Yes.
And wife and kids have no control over their own lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have no autonomy.
And I think that, you know, when you're talking about the foundation of their relationship being around sex, like, that's a very heteronormative thing that happens in a lot of relationships where sex is the center of it in a very unhealthy way that can cause long-term damage in relationships, because as soon as, like, if you're going through a dry spell or whatever, you start to feel a lack of connection with your spouse because everything ties back to sex. And that's ultimately, like, even this sense of, like, possession and everything where they're, like, knocking them out of a sense of pride or whatever. So this has been a terrible series.
It has been.
I
Absolutely
1 out of 10 would recommend, but we did learn a new word.
0 out of 10. Mons.
I encourage each of you to use it in your dirty talk this week.
Yes, that's your homework for the week.
That is...
work the Mons into your dirty talk with yourself, with your partner, with your multitude of partners. Just not with a man who has stolen you away from everything you care about.
If you're on a dating app, I encourage you to use this as a litmus test. If they know what that word is and they want you to use it, run.
Don't.
Yeah.
It's either they're a man from the mafia or they're a scientist. So, you know, feel that one out.
If they're a scientist, they will correct you and give you the full term.
Yeah, they'll give you the full
If they're a
term, that's how
doctor.
you know. And they won't want you to use it in sexy talk.
Or if they do, again, run. Yeah. And Mons doesn't even feel good coming out of your mouth. It doesn't feel...
It sounds like a disease.
It does.
I've got the Mons.
It sounds like mumps. Thank you for coming on this journey with us.
Yes, thank you for filling our sacks.
We will now, we're now going to, you know, hop on the pogo stick with Christ.
Oh, yeah.
I hope that you had a good laugh and cringed as many times as we did. Those books were rough. I am so sorry for putting you through that, Jolene. What crazy nonsense are you bringing to the pod next week?
Next time, we will have some guest hosts, and they're introducing to us The Kraken's Sacrifice by Katie Robert.
Release the Kraken!
Find us on Instagram at Womanly Portal Podcast.
Email us at womanlyportalpodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks goes out to Chloe Watts for our music.
And a special thanks to C Mann for editing this hot garbage.
Jesus Christ on a fucking pogo stick.
I just blew a load inside of you.